Good evening, fellow congruents and savages. Today is day 6 of my journey in the Congruence Academy. Learning a ton, enjoying it. Really, really a great program. It seems like I'm pitching it. I'm not. I have no interest, full disclosure. I'm just a happy student. Okay, so today it was very interesting. We kind of dissected a sales call with Matt Ryder. I mean, it was his own call, and he was going through, all the phases that he went through with his prospect, and of course the tactics and the strategies in that call. Um, First of all, we went through the importance of having your own nightmare story to actually connect emotionally with the prospect. Okay, so I mean that's kind of the main takeaway. It was a long call, but he shows how he started digging, and connecting on a deeper and deeper level. He brings the prospect gradually through this connection. I mean, you can start off the bat, and asking those deeper questions, but he created rapport by getting deeper and deeper connected with the prospect, right? So in the beginning there are some goals, so there's some main overarching goal, and but what he was saying is, okay, ask the goals about 3 times, but in like different types of goals. First, a more overarching one, and then try to. I mean, maybe they can give you a goal that's like in 10 years, I want to be a millionaire. Like, okay, yeah, but what's something in 12 months? So make it a little more reachable. Otherwise, hard to make a commitment to actually make a change. Um, and so he goes on. Okay, he tells his own nightmare story, and I think this was really interesting. How he makes that connection with the prospect when he says, "Okay, can you tell a little story about when there's that right?" I mean, he knows how to progress, and this is what we all need to. Besides having a script or anything, we need to know what phases we need to move our prospects from, uh, regardless of what script we're using, right? So after the goals and uh, you know all, getting some emotional parts and the challenges, of course, and the problem awareness, situation awareness. Uh, there's that tactical vulnerability, which is telling your own nightmare story. So in this case, he started telling about when he came back from special forces in Australia, and he became a fitness coach, and he was his rent was like $11,000, and he was in debt, and he was already in debt, and he started. I mean, the goal of this is get that emotional connection, but start planting ideas that are usual objections from a prospect. So remember, this is key. What I'm telling you, and I knew something about tactical vulnerability, but I didn't know how to tie that story with the specific objections that might arise later in the call. So this is brilliant. It's like an inception selling. So basically, he's telling about, okay, he was wearing a gorilla suit in the streets trying to sell fitness, and I mean he was grinding and working. Lesson here: work alone doesn't mean shit. You have to know what to do. What's the right thing to do? I mean, if you're walking down the sun, you know, uh, 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day, that doesn't give you the merit. I mean, you're just doing dumb shit. Okay. So, I mean, but he was saying, yeah, I was doing everything, dressed as, gorilla suit, trying to, the traffic lights, stopping traffic lights, selling fitness program. I did everything. Um, then, he came across this program that was, okay, there was this seminar and there was some price tag, I don't know, 5K, I don't know. And so he calls his dad, right? Trusted advisor. I mean, who do you call, right? Who do you refer to? So we're trying to be that person in this case, somebody they can trust as an advisor. So he calls his dad and says, "Okay, Dad, I'm in this conundrum. I'm in debt. I have this, uh, you know, high rent. I'm in trouble, and but I think this is the way." Uh, and the dad, of course, he puts on the big daddy's pants and say, "Well, what would you do if you couldn't fail?" Um, right? And he's like, shit, I have to go all in on this. I don't remember. It was better phrased, but anyway, it's like if you're not gonna back yourself onto this project, who is then, right? So, but basically, he's trying to plant a few ideas there, specifically the trusted advisor part by telling his dad, and then, of course, he said he bought the program, he put it on a further credit card, with high interest or anything, planting the idea that okay, good. I mean, there's a good outcome of debt if you're putting it into something that's gonna give you a massive ROI, right? So you're already planting that idea as well. That, okay, sometimes you don't have, but how resourcefulness you can be. That's a wrong term. Sorry, I'm not a native speaker, but how resourceful you can be, right? Don't mix resources with resourcefulness. That's what I want. And then, of course, when he was getting some non-buyer language, he would attack and confess. That's another tactic he was using, which is, for example, you would say comfort. Comfort is a breeding ground for mediocrity, especially for me. I have a hard time getting out of my comfort zone. So you kind of attacked and confessed, so it doesn't get personal to them because it's something on you. So it's brilliant how he was using that connection and really having that prospect understand uh, his emotional story and how he affected him, and how these decisions are usually difficult. We get that it's not easy. It's a complicated decision, but we've been there and we overcome that, and it's doable. Now we are in a position of authority. Yeah, I mean, in general, there was some objection handling as well, which is, I mean, we didn't get as far as the end of the call, but he started like the prospect would give him the answer of, uh, well, he asked. I mean, Matt asked, what would happen if you don't fix it, or in the 2 weeks and 2 months or 2 decades or whatever. And he said, yeah, I'll just figure it out. And there was a brilliant response there, which said, okay, most people, okay, can I give you my analysis on your answer? And he's like, yeah, for sure. It's like, most people would think that this is a good answer because um, it kind of gives you like a positive way of, okay, I'm gonna make it happen, right? But it's really not. It's really just an emotional out for not taking action, right? And then it goes into the sequence of, because it means that you're not willing to explore failure, and if you're not willing to explore failure, which is kind of required to be successful, you're not willing to explore success, something like that. Of course, I need to work on my tonality and the syntax and everything, but it makes the prospects see things from a different perspective. So that's it for today. I mean, main takeaway, have your own nightmare story that you can, first of all, has to be authentic. If you lie, I mean, you're not going to connect with anyone. So it has to be, I mean, everyone, we all have nightmare stories or some vulnerable point in our lives that we hit bottom, and then we can tell that story and how we overcome it. That, will help you really build a connection. And of course, within that story, use all the objections, plant the objections that are usually implied in any sales calls. I think that was a brilliant part today. Great takeaway. Yeah, big day today. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you in the next one.